Hello. Um, my name is Dylan. I'm also known as Twin Crows for Skyrim modding, and today I'm going to show you some of the process behind building some of these levels. So, yeah. All right, there we go. So, I think we're set up now. So an unfortunate thing happened right before I started the stream. I was using a program called Streamlabs OBS, and it is an awesome program. You can do a lot with it, but it ended up crashing about 20 minutes before I started my stream. So I swapped over. I'm on regular OBS right now, not Streamlabs OBS, and I've had a lot more success with this one being more reliable. But the unfortunate thing about the crash was everything went down. My creation kit, that went down too. So I've got to reload that stuff up at the beginning here. But so what I'm going to be doing today is going through this dungeon called Vanua. So Vanua is a dungeon from Oblivion, and we're rebuilding all of the dungeons from Oblivion in Beyond Skyrim, which is a whole lot of fun. There's a lot to do still, but it's pretty great. When I was a small child, one of my childhood dreams was to become a game developer. And I kind of grew up. I went to university. I studied something completely different from game design, but I kept that interest in programming and stuff. So it's it's fun to be able to do that through Skyrim modding now. But yeah, I just gotta reload the creation kit. Arthas Menethil. Creation kit hates everything equally. It does, especially the old creation kit for original Skyrim, which is what we do most of our work for Beyond Skyrim on, is that old one. And that one loves to crash. Alright, creation kit is back up. I'm gonna move the display, there we go. Cool. And by backup, I mean I can start loading it now, which usually takes about 5 minutes. So there's another thing I can do in the meantime. So what I do when I build these things is I usually pull up the original Oblivion, and this is the process. So I'm going to load into this, and what I do is I'll go and like run around the original dungeon and get a feel for it. Let me see if I can. There we go. It's popping up now. All right. So I need to turn on God mode so I don't drown. So this is the process. The process is really cool, and this is why I wanted to stream this. This is Vanua. This is what we're going to be building, and we're going to be copying it off of the layout from here. So it starts underwater, which is a great place to start in a game because you really want to drown your players as soon as they load, when they step away to make a little cup of coffee or something. They come back and they've died. So it starts underwater. Oh, I should show you guys where this is. It's actually a really interesting place. So this dungeon itself came with the Knights of the Nine DLC. Okay, there we are. Wow, guys, it's Beyond Skyrim. It's the original. No, this is just Oblivion. So looking around, so there's this is the outside of the dungeon. It's an underwater dungeon where I think you had a quest which brought you to the location of it. Otherwise, totally hard to find. One sec. There's some odd vocals going on in the music, so I'm just going to turn that down a bit. Alright, we're back. Yeah. Okay, so the dungeon itself, there's the Imperial City. So it's pretty close. But you actually go underwater, and here is Vanua. Alright. So what I look at this point is I'm looking at the kits used and the pieces used. So for here, we just have kind of a basic entrance, and then it goes over here to this kind of little entrance corridor, and then we get some stairs up, and then we get out of the water. Then we have this kind of, here, one second, I'm going to toggle detection, and that's going to make sure that no skellies attack us. And we're just going to walk forward. So these are all kit pieces that we've built out for Beyond Skyrim. The wonderful 3D artists and the 2D texture artists have made updated versions of this, so it's even cooler. It actually looks better than the original Oblivion ones, which actually hold up pretty well. And so we have some corridors here. So there's some skeletons here, nice friendly skeletons. They're friendly when you use cheats. And we got a stone up there, skeleton. So this is kind of like a nice entrance crypt here. Goes forward a bit more, some more crypts. Then we go into this room. It's a nice bigger room. And yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. There's this button here. You press it and it opens a door. And you got another room here. You got a zombie. But yeah, that's enough to start with. It takes me a long time to build this stuff. What we just passed through, we cruised through it 10 seconds. It's probably going to take me maybe 3 hours or more to build that much. So that's one of the things that we're always kind of looking at when we're designing stuff is how can we speed up the development? Because if a player can consume like the dungeon in a minute and it takes us like 6 hours to build it, that's not a good ratio there. So we have to make sure that when we're building stuff, we do it efficiently and effectively as we can. Otherwise, we're going to be doing it for many, many more years. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause. I'm just going to Alt-Tab out, and I'll see if that works fine. Yeah, seems fine. And we're going to start in the creation kit. Just going to move my windows. I like to try and cram this window in there as well. Oh, I have an interesting shirt on too, by the way. If you guys have heard, there's kind of like a modern musician, would be maybe the easiest way to describe them, named Young Scrolls, and they make some pretty they make some interesting music. I'll say that much. But they're extremely creative. What they do is they take the voice clips from Skyrim and they remix it and put it into they make it actual music, and it's just hilarious. But I'll show you the shirt. It's just a good old Morrowind shirt. But I thought it's brilliant. That person is absolutely brilliant with what they've done, and yeah. So, I think I started a cell. C-O-Y, Vanua, there we go. So this is what we're starting with. It looks like a lot of black. Oh, there we go, there's something there. And it is very far from an Ayleid ruin. It's just a good old house. But we're going to turn this into an Ayleid ruin. So I'm going to remove that. No more house. And I'm going to search for our assets. Dogster 202, Young Scrolls is true culture. It really is. It's interesting because it's this kind of like rehashed thing. I think it's brilliant. Okay, so I gotta find the right piece. So I'm going to look back in Oblivion. We're going to see what we want. So I want to start with this. So it's just going to be kind of that square entrance with a door, hopefully with a staircase going down. One of the things that tends to take a fair amount of time is finding the right asset, because there's a lot of pieces in here. Some doors. There's a very specific one that I'm looking for. Maybe it's a staircase. There we go. So I'm kind of looking for this thing. Small stairs entrance. Small stairs. I think I'll just pop that down there. That's the closest thing I can see right now. And so that is going to be our equivalent. It's not entirely the same, but it is mostly the same to this. So ours, the one that I'm using is a little bit taller than the original, but it's not super noticeable. That's kind of what we shoot for with a lot of this, is kind of the dungeons for a lot of it are, for Beyond Skyrim, are heavily inspired by the Oblivion ones, and if we can make it a one-to-one match, we go for that. But at the same time, we kind of want to show the passage of time and how the world has changed a little bit, and potentially some of the ruins they've been broken into when the main character from Oblivion went through all these ruins. They tore them through, they grabbed all the treasure, and what happens now is that now you have the Skyrim Dragonborn coming through, and they get to get the second pick of all the treasure. Unless bandits or minotaurs or other things have gotten into the dungeon since, because they can bring in new treasure. So that's the beginning there. So we have our little entranceway, our first piece. I'm going to look for the door for that as well. So that's usually over in the doors here. Skilled Gamer 1994. Coming in with the facts, Vanua was where the Helm of the Crusader was at, and it is an unmarked underwater Ayleid run. Nice. I gotta be honest, I did not play through Knights of the Nine. I played through a lot of Oblivion. That was the first one that I really got into, but I didn't play this dungeon in particular. So if there's anything I miss, or that you guys notice it and you're like, oh, that'd be cool if you had that, let me know, because that kind of stuff is actually really helpful. I might see if I can find kind of like nods to the original, like if I can think of ways to kind of do an interesting new twist on it. There we go, slid that door into place. Here's the door. So the next piece I want to do, pop it back into Oblivion. So we kind of want to go and get into one of these archways. These archways are very common. So it kind of, I mean, this one kind of has an arch. It's not quite the same. I might do a little entryway there. Grab a hall. A hall one way. That's pretty big. I actually need a small hall. Small. Will it still be unmarked and be a Cyrodiil, and will there be any unique treasures in it? We don't know yet, actually. I haven't seen any quests or anything relating to Vanua. That's one of the reasons why I picked it, because I love having those projects where it's just like I can do whatever I want with it. But we could maybe it might happen in the future that somebody sets up a quest, maybe maybe a normal quest or like a radiant quest or something. I'm gonna design it. I usually design dungeons as purely just dungeons, like ones where you just go in and you can do what you want in there. But yeah, let's see what I want to do here. So we have our stairs. It's kind of an entrance and then it goes right back up. So that might be a little bit easier. I might actually, you know what, I might not do this piece here. I might just go right into the stairs. Somebody asking what we're doing. So what we're doing is I'm going through the process for making a dungeon in Beyond Skyrim Cyrodiil. So this is a mod that is being made by the community to add more content onto Skyrim. It's a big goal. We have a whole lot of people in it. There are literally hundreds of people have contributed. Oh, and if you posted a link, it might auto moderate it out. But if you try to like segment it or like make it so that the automatic system or whatever can't figure out that it is a link, maybe just like remove the .com or something like that. There we go. So this is the one. I think this is what I would like to do. I might need to do something kind of funky with it. So one of the interesting things about this dungeon is that it is a underwater dungeon, and I have to figure out how to make it so that the player... Oh, wow. What if I fixed it and I made it so that the player doesn't drown as soon as they enter the thing? That sounds like a good idea. Because I can still do water without it necessarily going over their head. So here's some water. And I can scale this up. You can, with water, you can scale it pretty nicely. So maybe you have to dunk your head under the water in order to get to the rest of the dungeon. Let's see. Scoot Gamer, hundreds of people. I thought there was only a dozen on each team. There's a whole lot of people, man. There's a whole lot. Yeah, it's probably at a time there might be about a dozen active people, like on a specific day. But the at least for Beyond Skyrim Cyrodiil, which I think is the largest of the projects, we have a huge team. There's a lot of people who come and go all the time, which is great. It has a really nice and loose teamwork kind of thing. So you don't really feel like responsible to do stuff, but you could just get to have a good time with it. Okay, so I think that's pretty nice for that entranceway there. I just need to find, what am I looking for? There it is. Looking for these little gizmos here. These things do different things. This is here's the X marker, which is like a location marker. This is the cock marker. That marks when you type in console. There's a command. I'll show you it. When you go COC, where am I? ND Vanua. That'll teleport me to a cell. So if you've never done that before, you can do that in Skyrim. You can do it in Oblivion. It's the same thing. And you just find the name of the cell. If you use the uasp.net wiki, you can. They have any entry. If you look up for any location, they're going to have the cell name there, and you can use this to just teleport there right away. But anyways, that's what the cock marker does. Is it teleports you over there. And so usually what you do is, I'm just going to hide my water for a second. What you do is over on the door, you kind of place this where you want the player to teleport. So normally you would put it near where the door marker would be. And I'll just put the X marker there too. I'll put it above water so it doesn't get hidden. And there we go. This is the north marker. So I'm going to go into Oblivion really quickly. And we're going to figure out which direction is north. So north is kind of the way it's facing, but a little bit to the left. So kind of the way it's facing, but a little bit to the left is going to be like there. So the north marker is going to orient the player's compass. Cool. And then there's a few other things I want to do before I really kick off. Oh, nice. You got a map of Vanua. Yeah, those are super useful. Here, I can pop over here as well. So I have the USP article here too. And, oops, over here. So these maps here, like this thing, for instance, this is super useful because I can look at it because they're all tile-based, right? So I can go just piece by piece and build the whole thing together. Okay, so I have a little down dip, then I have an up dip. I'm going to do the really broad strokes right now, so just setting these really big pieces of tile. I'm going to go in and do the clutter pieces and things later, but for the start I usually just start out with these pieces. So we go straight and then we have a four-way right here. Cool, so go straight, and then I'm going to do a four-way. There we go, just like that. And then at the end of these, this one kind of has a little ledge, and a ledge with a Ayleid cask. Okay. So I have these Endcaps. This one I think is the equivalent to the edge, and then this one is a flat one. So I'm going to grab these, and I just place these right in. There we go, there's the first one. And there's the second one. And then what I'm going to do next is go through the container here, and I'm going to try and find that Ayleid container. Skill Gamer, what work is left to do in Cyrodiil, and how long do you guess it'll take before Cyrodiil is released? It's interesting, because I think if you ask pretty much any member of the team, they're going to have a different estimate, and people are going to respond differently to this. So just prefacing this and saying we're all completely disconnected from each other. We try and centralize some communications, because there are some people who experiment on the project for like kind of practicing marketing and things like that. But it's hard to give a real estimate, but I'll answer it in two parts. So the first part is what work is there left to do in Cyrodiil. The biggest part, I would say, for people to do is probably quests, like people who are good at implementing and scripting quests. That is one of the things that is one of the hardest skills to do as a modder. I've been modding for about four or 5 years, and I've almost finished my first quest mod. So they're very difficult to make quests compared to any other kind of mod. Like if it went on a scale, it would be like, you know, there's texture mods, 3D mods, because 3D you have to do your own collision for it too, if you're introducing a new asset. And then there's other things too, but quest mods are, you know, like way up here. They're pretty tough. You have to know how to script with Papyrus, which is the creation kit's own special scripting language, made specifically for programming stuff with Elder Scrolls, which is a really cool language. It does a lot, but there's a lot of weird intricacies with it. I pretty much took a break from Beyond Skyrim project because I wanted to learn how to do it, and I took a break of maybe 3 or 4 months. So I'm just kind of coming back now. So that's what the work left to be done, is that really like difficult implementing stuff. We do have some really like amazing experts. There are people who have been modding, since Oblivion. I only started modding like late Skyrim. So there's some extremely well-trained people. And then how long do I guess it'll take before Cyrodiil is released? I would say years. I think it is likely, in my opinion, I think it's likely it'll happen after the next Elder Scrolls game is released. And I think some people react differently when you say something like that. Some people will be like, "Oh my God, that's too late. I'm never going to get to play it." But I think there's a lot of people who are very dedicated to the game. It has a special place in their heart, and I think it's interesting to see. One of the things that I like, as being somebody who does come back to Elder Scrolls and Elder Scrolls modding, is seeing how the community tends to come back almost seasonally. It's like every winter people get this itch to play Skyrim again, and I think it's going to be like that. I'm one of those people who plays a lot of older games. I've been playing WoW Classic, which has been a lot of fun lately, and so I think that even if our mod comes out afterwards, it's probably going to be like awesome. Like, it's going to be really cool. You're going to want to play it, even if you are older. If you've maybe retired even by that point, you're going to be like, "Oh, nice, they finished it. I'm going to go and check that out now." Yeah, it's awesome. Like, that's one of the things that I think is really I think freeing, is sort of because the project, we don't have any deadlines, and that's one of the things is like I really appreciate about the marketing, the people who are practicing marketing and stuff. They don't act like we have a deadline. I think there was at the very beginning of the project, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're probably going to have this out by 2018 or something like that." And of course that didn't happen. It's a gigantic project, and it's the biggest thing about it is that it is none of us are employed by it, right? So like we have to pay our rent, and then once we have that all covered, then we can mess around with modding stuff. But yeah, I think that's a big part of the fun of it, is that just knowing that it's like, it's not really about necessarily getting it all done quickly, at least. Of course, we'd like to get it done, but it's more so about just the process of it, and just yeah. So I'm looking for a very specific cask. There's a few different ones. This one's kind of a wide cask, which I think in our version is the boss chest. Yeah, it is, but it seems weird to put a boss chest before you fought any enemies. So, well, it is an underwater ruin. Maybe I should put a boss chest. That might be fun. I could put an empty. Oh, what about that? What if I put an empty boss chest at the very beginning? Would that be too cruel? If people were coming in, they're like, "Oh, nice, yes." They just open it. It's like, "Oh, there's nothing in it, dude." Oh, I gotta set the lighting too. I want to set the. I love lighting in this game. Lighting is my favorite part of level design at all. Just because it makes everything look so beautiful. Let's see. Here, I'll move this little window. I'm working on. There's. I'm gonna hold myself back from trying to explain the creation kit because it is an arcane tool, and we should all just listen to the wonderful music instead. Let me turn the music up a bit. How about a trap chest? Ooh, that'd be interesting. Ayleid, there we go. Ayleid lighting, far water. I think I want close. I kind of want it to be dark-ish. What did it look like back here? Maybe that's too dark. Oh no, that's actually pretty much how dark it is. And then we just use some room lighting for that. Sweet. Alright. And I think my water is pretty much the right level too. Will there be a boss level enemy like Cyrodiil in Vanua? I mean, I could. I do like putting liches into my dungeons. I've been really wanting to use a Minotaur. I might use a Minotaur. Sometimes I put weird stuff in the dungeons and I let somebody else move it later on if they're like, why is there a Minotaur after the water part? Magic. That's my excuse. 1 gold in the chest. Oof. What's another? They have another meme with calipers. We put calipers in something. There's a specific chest. I'll show you it. There's a calipers chest. And it's the weird. So dungeon barrel calipers joke. There's 2 of them in the game. And it is a barrel. Let me see. It's a barrel that just has 78 calipers in it. There's just a whole bunch of it, and it's called an odd barrel. I don't know what it's related to. I don't want to screw with it too much, but it's pretty good. Weird spawns usually in the interior of a certain castle. I'm working on the castle for Bravil, but I haven't done anything. I probably haven't done anything you guys have seen. I only joined the project after Beyond Skyrim Bruma was released. I think actually pretty much in the wake of that being released, I was like, yeah, I want to get into this project now. So you guys haven't seen any of the stuff that I've done yet. Okay, I gotta figure out the one that I actually want to put in. I do want to put something. I might just put a basic square one with just like a little bit of loot, just as like, hey, way to go, you made it into the place. Except they don't really fit on these ledges, so I'm gonna put it down here, and I'm gonna put some like rubble. Yeah, I mean, if that wasn't me, it was probably somebody like-minded who's just like, wow, these things are freaking cool, man. Seriously, they're so cool. I love the miniatures in this. That's probably my favorite enemy in Beyond Skyrim Cyrodiil. Which I love too, because it's like, what better way to symbolize Cyrodiil than a minotaur? That'll work. So there's a little chest right in the side there. Oh, I gotta make sure I set the ambient soundscape stuff too, because there's this wonderful dripping water sound effect that I want to make sure that it stays. So we have an interior dungeon, Ayleid Ruin acoustic. I think what I might do is I'm gonna pick the Ayleid Ruin sound space. I'm gonna put the music, dungeon Ayleid, location. I don't have a location for it yet. And what I'm gonna do instead is there's a miscellaneous, I think it's miscellaneous. There's a sound thing. put a sound somewhere. Oh, there we go. Audio. Acoustic space? Is that it? Exterior, interior room, wood ship. I think this might be it. Dungeon cave. We're almost at the right one. Is it a sound? Oh, it might be a sound marker. There we go. So I have cave drips. We're going to put cave drips in here. Cave drip A or B? Let's try A first. And so what this is going to do is it's going to make it sound drippy near this thing. I'm going to place it right here for the first one. We'll see what if I need to move it when I do testing. Okay, so making our way. This goes forward. Then we actually have a few of these. We have 1, 2 of these 4-way halls. This one has something in the middle of it. So let's do that. Just gonna copy that out. Gonna move. Oh, nice. So now you can see there's the lighting is going on. Lighting includes fog. So that's gonna be the fog, which is pretty cool. It's going to be kind of a foggy area. I like that a lot. I think that really fits the theme of this kind of weird, musty, underwater dungeon. That wasn't originally a Knights of the Nine related place, but who knows what has happened to it since. I've been showing you guys this. I do have some beer. I have been drinking out of this wonderfully made craft that some guys near my area, they do these horn crafts, which are just fantastic. I have some. I have this cream ale. I have some of this in there. Okay, so the next piece that I'm looking for is, there's a specific name. Is this the one that has a name for it? No. This is, yeah, this is cool. So they put a few pieces together here. So I'm gonna have to, it's crazy what they've done. Like, it's so fun to go as a modder who does level design. Going back to the original Oblivion ones is the best because you get to see all of this stuff that they've put together. Like, I learn so much more from level design, having like reverse engineered these dungeons. It's incredible what you learn doing some of these things. So this one's going to take me a bit though, because it's a few pieces, but at least it's duplicated, so once I figure it out I can just copy it. So I think it starts with, there is a hall, there's like a big hall. I think it is this piece. Yeah, I think that might, maybe that's it. And no, that's not quite it. It's got to be maybe this one. Nope. This is it. Yeah, here we go. Cool. So I just gotta link these up here. The thing that I love about doing level design as opposed to any other kind of modding, like I've done other kinds of mods. My favorite thing to do in terms of actually having a good time modding is level design, because you just get to build these fantastic things that to me it's sort of a way of reconnecting with who I am in a way. Like it's sort of what I wanted to do. I've been able to kind of turn it into this hobby that I really enjoy, and it brings me a lot of fulfillment. So there is, it's actually a really rare piece I'm looking for now. I feel like I'm looking through, like, when I do this, I feel like I'm looking through, like, a big, like, box of Lego, and you're like, what is that little piece I need? A tiny thing. And then you step on it. Okay, these are all exterior pieces, so I can skip those. I think it had a certain name to it. It was like a crypt or something. According to UESP, the doors to the Shrine of the Crusader shut once you enter the area. Huh, okay. Yeah, I'll be running through more of it as I continue. For a lot of the stuff, it's sort of like a mix. As a whole, we're trying to make dungeons a little bit smaller. So sometimes if there's like a gigantic dungeon in Oblivion, just in the interest of as a way to kind of get the project out sooner, sometimes we'll collapse certain parts of it if they were maybe related to something very specific. So I might see myself doing that. I'm not sure if I'll either collapse the door so you can't get through it, or I will kind of collapse it open as if somebody had broken through there. So yeah, I'm looking for this piece here at the end. I think I did another dungeon where I had, I think, that piece. I wonder if I could actually just jump into another dungeon. Which one was it? I think it was Puke, huh? Yeah, so I'm just gonna hop into a dungeon that I had done before. So this is kind of cool if you're curious the sort of stuff that I make. This is Piukanda, and this is I'm very proud of this little root area here, and it keeps continuing on. I was actually looking, there we go, that's the piece. So I was looking for this piece, and I think I might do a similar thing, because I thought this was really cool. I'm gonna copy that. Just gonna grab all these bones, the urn, all these things, roots, and I'm gonna take all that, copy it. It's gonna come with me. So this is the kind of stuff you're gonna see in these mods. Some really cool pieces here. There's this mysterious area over there. And yeah, that's Piukanda. But we're gonna go back to Vanua. Okay, so that piece there, I'm gonna paste it in, and then I'm just gonna move it right there. And then I need some light because it's too dark where I am. Okay, so there's kind of this lighting that's more about the, it's a high lighting. Here we go. This is my favorite part. My absolute favorite thing to do in modding is you have a scene, no light, it's so dark, it's dismal, there's terrible, you can't see anything. And then you add a light and you're like, oh my god, this is why they made Skyrim. It's so beautiful. There we go. Oh yeah, and I think this is beautiful, by the way. As a dungeon designer, things like this is the epitome of beauty. Okay, so that part of it is in there. So we have these platforms. I'm trying to do something similar to this. I don't know if we have this specific piece, because it's kind of rounded, this base piece I'm looking at here. That's what I'm going to try and see if I can create here. I like this one. This one's fairly close. And then I can kind of submerge it underneath. That's kind of it. That's similar. And then it's going to have a coffin at the top. Do I want to do a closed or an open coffin? Or was it a... Oops. Yeah, it's one of these things. I'm going to put it as an open coffin. Just like that. Or the alternative is I could make, we have a, where is it? Okay, no, I think that's it for now. Alright, so it's going to be this coffin. And I'm going to put some skeletons here too. Ooh, do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see what's what kind of actors we have here? I don't know if I can show you this. That's all you guys are going to get. That's all. Whatever this thing is. I'm looking for a skeleton. I think, so this one's going to be a dead skeleton. There we go, dead. Oh, those are specific. There we go. Corpse skeletons. That's what I'm looking for. Just gonna be one of them. And what I do to make it a dead skeleton is you just select it and you go starts dead. And then I think, oh, here we go. Here he goes. Oh no. Whoa. Wow. There he goes. He's dead. He's gonna fall apart into bones, I think, actually, in game. But for now, he's kind of he's just hanging out. He'll be right there. He's just sleeping. Sleepy skeleton. And then at the end of, at the head, there's this Welkin stone holder. So there's the holder, and then I'm gonna put a Ayleid Column. This one. There we go. Shrink it a bit. And place that right there. I think I can make it full size, actually. There we go. And how tall was it? It wasn't too bad. It was kind of high-ish, but not too tall. I think that's probably good. And then at the top of it, I'm going to put a Welkin stone in. Stone consumable. There we go. And all I do is I place this thing, oops, place it right about there. And then I press Havoc Saddle, so now it just kind of nested down into the holder. And that's that. That's actually, that is, I think that's what they did. They have the Welkin stone, they have the coffin thing, they have a light. I think that's it for that side. And they have some rubble here too, but I'll add in rubble later. And then yeah, cool. So I just got to copy that out. So I'm just going to take the things that I want to copy, so pretty much that and that. Turn my grid stuff on. Duplicate it, and I'll move it over here. Got everything except for the light. I think that matched too. It did. Awesome. Okay. Just gonna grab my light, move that over there too. Cool. And then just want to make sure it's not oddly symmetrical. So I'm gonna do a bit of rotation on these roots, so that they don't look symmetrical. And then I'm going to move some of these things around a bit. Lots of skulls here. And skulls are good for dungeons. Alright, and I'm gonna just Havoc Settle this guy. Oh, he really fell fast. Oh, there he goes. Alright. Just like that. Awesome. So now, where we had nothing, we have this. There's a starting dungeon there. So I'm just going to check. I'm going to go backwards a little bit. and see what the lighting was. So there's this nice saturated light right here. There's light underwater too, and then a light right at the door. So I'm going to do that real quick. So here's the door. Oftentimes there's a light right at the door so that you can see it. And then, where was the next one? Kind of right at the base. There was another light. So I'll put that there. I'm gonna make it larger but dimmer. That'll look really nice underwater. And then afterwards, you kind of have this bright area. So that's going to be this area here. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to swap the light and make it a saturated version, so it's a whole lot brighter. And shrink it just a little bit. And then I'm also going to do, we have crystals. Crystals, yeah. These things are cool. You can do a whole lot with this. And I learned this off of reverse engineering one of the Bruma dungeons. Mr. JGT, hello. This is Vanua. So what I do with this light here is there's a mittens, and for these, I think, is it interior or exterior? Might be the other one, exterior light. Oh no, it's the first one. So Cyrodiil Ayleid blue light, just like that. And so, oh nice. Yeah, I think so, Mr. GG. I've definitely seen your name before. I probably have talked to you before. I took a break for a few months. I'm back, temporarily at least, to do some more dungeons, especially through streams. I think it's really fun to do it through stream. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go CRY Ayleid blue light, and then that makes the crystal blue. I'll have to check for sure. I'm gonna actually go back to one of my previous dungeons again. Go to Piukanda, and just copy how I did those ones. Cyrodiil exterior lead, nice. Mr. JGT is one of the dedicated and industrious people who are the core of the project. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this crystal is I am trying to semi-replicate what's going on right here, where you have a few of these crystals poking out. So I'm going to move a few crystals and I'm going to kind of stick them out. The cool thing about our crystals is we get to place them individually, so we can do all kinds of cool stuff. I can make it kind of poking out like that. I'm going to have one like that. Nice, yeah. I think it's really cool because one of the things that I found is whenever I do any streaming for Beyond Skyrim, I've maybe only done it once or twice before, and this is the first time I've used webcam, and I think that's also another thing that I like. I think it makes it a lot nicer of a experience for everybody to get to see the faces behind the project and just be like, oh wow, these guys, they're nerdy people just like us. We're just people making them on. But yeah, I mean, every time what I do is I put a post out on the Reddit for our Skyrim mods. I also put one out on our Beyond Skyrim. I used to put ads out on our Skyrim, but they only like memes on that subreddit. They don't like streaming or anything like that. So they kept deleting my posts, but the moderators on that subreddit, the yeah, I mean it's always there's awesome people have been so receptive, and it's great to have them kind of pop in and be like, oh hey, awesome. Plus it gives us an opportunity to show them what goes into the mod and show them that we are just loving, caring people who enjoy making public and free, accessible art for everybody. So I got some crystals in here now, kind of poking out. That'll look interesting. And another thing I like to do, I love effects. I use them a lot. And what do I want to use? There's one that's dust, which can be pretty cool. What is it, mist maybe? There we go. The beams. Dust beam. So I could use something like that. I think I'll use one of these wet mist. Whoa, that's bright. It's even supposed to be the dim one. Maybe the mists are too bright. Yeah, I think the mists are bright. I'll use dust, dim 2. Maybe 4. That's kind of interesting. Got some people in chat. It's interesting to watch, says Duck Hugs. And a Magni says, much love to you and the whole team. I love Prima. Aw, thank you. That is 100% what we do it for. Literally is just for people to say, oh, that's cool. We're just like, yeah, man, that is cool. So there's that. I'll put that there for now. I might change what goes on there. Another thing that I like to put sometimes is a what is it? Is it called a glow? I'll have to check. I have to keep going over to my previous one. Just gonna do a save. Okay. There we go. A glow. That's what they're called. I think I might do a glow instead. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So, whoa. We're upside down. There we go. So just this little glow over by those crystals. Cool. And that's some stuff that I can just copy throughout. Awesome. This goes forward. I'm gonna put this little thing here. Gotta figure out how to do that one. What is this thing? Oh, it's a railing end cap. Trying to look for this piece actually. This thing. I think it's gonna be tough to find. It might just have to be. Ooh, there's some new stuff. Oh my god. Guys, I have new assets now. I'm so stoked about that. Wow. These are nice. Those are really nice Ayleid assets right here. Oh my god. The rubble piles are so cool. We didn't have these back when I was last contributing. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, because I don't see that piece specifically, is I'm going to put one of these awesome rubble pieces in there. And it's going to kind of poke right above the water. It's going to be right about in the middle here. Yeah. I want to pick a pretty tall one though. That's cool. We had someone make, Mr. JGT, we had someone make loads of Ayleid clutter. Yes! Yes! Ayleid clutter. So many people love the Ayleid dungeons specifically. I think they had this really interesting feeling to them. I might try it with that. I'm going to put that kind of rubble piece in the middle, and we'll see how that feels in game. But for now, so that's going to kind of break that up, and then it's a little bit below Mr. Skeleton. There's one more here. Okay. Nice. I love it when I can just copy and paste dungeon stuff. It speeds it up so much. We're going to take that and we're going to move it. It's going to go up. Oops. Duplicate it and move it up. Make sure it lines up properly. There we go. And then I'm going to flip it. Cool. Alright. And then we get to do this room. So this is a big, big room. Let's see. So it's probably 3 by 3. And in the middle, there's a little platform here. And then there's welcome stones there, plus a button. That opens a secret corridor. Alright, so big room stuff. Okay, so there's the entrance. this should be the middle of the room. There we go. Yep. And then it does this awesome thing, which is kind of like this. There's this area back there behind this kind of metal grate. And I think these are just a tile. Yeah, there it is. So this thing. Just gonna place that tile right over there. Awesome. Building things in this game in the creation kit is so much easier once you get a good palette going. Like once you get a whole bunch of tiles that you're really enjoying using, and you can just like keep rehashing them, throw them around, mix them around. I find the longest thing that takes me so long is hunting down like a specific piece in this menu here, this one. It just takes so long to find the right one. But once you have your dungeon going, you've been building it for a little while, you can just go copy paste, grab something from earlier. Alright, so that's the general room. I wonder if we have those metal frames, because we have door ones. Whoa. Whoa. This is new. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of new stuff. Whoa. That is cool. Is there a chandelier? I love chandeliers. No, there's no chandelier. It's just the welkin stones, I think, that are braiding everything up. Mr. JGT, we tried to make the set more in line with the Skyrim sets with the clutter. Yeah, that makes sense. Like having those tables in there, and then as well as having like a bunch more rubble. That is awesome. I like this. I think this is new too. This shelf. That is a beautiful shelf. so I think the next part that I want to do, I'm going to do this middle thing here. So there's like this platform, and then there's the welkin stone holders right beside it. Then I put the columns. Actually, I have welkin stones. I can just copy them. There's the lighting for that. And then there's a big light here. So this is supposed to kind of fill up the room. I'm gonna bring it up a bit and then fill it out until it kind of reaches most of the room. Ayleid lighting, I find you want to mix the lights and the darks. And you don't want to shy away from having some really dark areas, because those the player can just pull out a torch. Oh yeah, based off the ESO. That's so cool. When I first started doing some of the Ayleid interiors, I actually played through ESO and explored just the Ayleid ruins in there, because I thought the lighting styles that they did there like really fit the Ayleid style. In Oblivion, a lot of the Ayleid ruins are kind of monochromatic, so they don't have like a whole lot of color range. It's pretty much just kind of what you can see here, right? Where it's sort of this blue, which is really cool. But in ESO, they introduced more color ranges too, because they had crystals that were red or orange or yellow, and I think that really fit, at least what I know of the lore of the Ayleids. They're supposed to be kind of these wild elves, and I think that came through really great with ESO. One thing I really like about the dungeon here, and I notice this sometimes, is they make this really awesome use of these holes. Like there's a hole in the ceiling, and so I'm gonna try and copy that, because I think it's just amazing when you have these really weird dark spaces and you can't see the end of it necessarily. I think it adds to that like spook factor. There we go. I think that's the one. There we go. Here it is. Nice. Yeah, that's good and spooky right there. and I might just put some enemies in. We have here, we got some skeleton archers. There's a zombie past that way. There's a skeleton there. Skeleton there. Cool. So there's about 3 skeletons. I'm going to try and match that. One in that room and one in this room, and I'm gonna take away the skeletons from those rooms because these skeletons are still awake. I'm just gonna be looking that way, that one. This guy's gonna be looking that way though. And then I'm gonna set their difficulty. This one's going to be a medium skeleton, but the one right by the door is going to be an easy skeleton. And then, what do we have in here? Was this another... Yeah, it was another bow skeleton. Make this guy a little harder, though. So it kind of builds up. He's going to be kind of hiding in the corner. It's kind of a clever skeleton there. Alright. So that's the big room. And after it, oh yeah, okay. So after it we have this block that controls that secret door. I'm going to create the secret entrance so far. I'm not going to bog this down with any scripting. Barry, this clever skeleton. Yeah, that one's named Barry. So we're going to do this little secret entrance. Oh, do I have to do a special door for that? What's my approach on enemy difficulty? I'm more of a... I pretty much always use leveled enemies. That's the start for me, is that I'm not necessarily one of the leveled, I don't have leveled areas. It's kind of, you should be able to explore pretty much anywhere whenever you want. Because it's nice to not necessarily predict where the player is going to go and what they're going to do. So I like to use leveled enemies. I like that idea of challenge and reward, where you give the player a challenge and then you give them a reward. So for instance, after that, you have an easy, medium, hard skeleton. You beat that, great, way to go. Your prize is, for one, you're going to have to fight this zombie. But after you do that, there might be something here for you. But I think the most fun thing to me is to kind of mix it up. So you're going to have some areas that are really easy, but then of course as you get further in the dungeon, it gets a little bit harder. Okay, so I was looking at this door, and I might need to do a different door here actually. But yeah, I think for enemy difficulty, I think it's really fun to give the player situations that they can't necessarily prepare for, because I think in a lot of times in Elder Scrolls games, you pretty much always have the advantage of starting the combat whenever you want. You're pretty rarely really ambushed, or if you are ambushed, it's usually pretty easy to just back around a corner, wait for the guy to come and attack you around the corner. So difficulty is a little bit hard in an Elder Scrolls game because of that sort of freedom of movement, where you can just back out, go forward. There's a few things you can do that are like tricks, like you could maybe have a door shut as soon as they enter it. But then at the same time, it's like, what if they quick save and then something happens and they have to get out of the dungeon for whatever reason? Maybe they have a mod where they have to feed their kids or something, and they're stuck in the dungeon now and they can't do it. So I try not to be too constraining. It's usually just like, if you're in the dungeon, just trust you to go forward through it. Yeah, it's interesting to like the comparisons too. One of the things that I find is um, Oblivion had a lot more. I feel like those like damage type kind of things felt like it mattered a little bit more. Like if you're fighting skeletons, you're gonna want to use something specific, right? You might actually want to use a turn undead spell against a skeleton in Oblivion compared to one in Skyrim, where for the most part you just fight them as you would a bandit. And I think zombies are one of the huge ones. Like I'm gonna. This one's pretty weak. I've found some skeletons. I think our zombies in the Beyond Skyrim are like really durable. At least at like a level 1. There we go. So that's the door I want. It's kind of this square door. Yeah, it's interesting how they're very different games in that way. Like I felt like in Oblivion, um, you weren't necessarily like the hero of the story as much. You were sort of like almost like this sidekick where it's like, oh yeah, there's Martin's the real hero, um, and all you are is kind of like this guy kind of helping set up Martin. Okay, so there's that secret entrance. Erether 123 Portugal. Um, my girlfriend has Portuguese family. Okay, I think this is the part I need. Yeah. There we go. And then, what do I do at the ends of this? Looks like just kind of end pieces here. funny. Portugal. There's this like YouTube people. I think they're called like Portuguese kids or something. And my girlfriend shows me it like all the time to kind of try to explain different like Portuguese customs, because like her grandparents are pretty Portuguese. We all live in Canada, but they immigrated here from Portugal, and it's just funny to see. It's a really good channel. I think it's called Portuguese Kids. Oh, nice. There's a chandelier, finally. I get to put a chandelier in. These things are really cool, and they look cool in Oblivion. They look even cooler, in my opinion, in our Skyrim mod, because we have the ability to do shadow lighting. So I'm gonna do, I know I used these before, and it's easier for me to copy one, because they have a few parts to them. So I'm gonna hop over to Piukanda. And there we go. Oops. Okay. I think I got everything copied except for the lights. So I have to go back. Annual path. Hello. Hello, how are you doing? the lighting is coming in. Do you see what I mean about these shadows? Like, look at that. That's so cool. Okay. Yeah, that is awesome. Alright. So there's a few other kind of almost decorative parts in here that I want to add as well. They have these things. These are interesting. I can add those with the little stones inside. And then there's some column pieces, right? Or there's one on that side, the other one's rubble. So I'm going to do that real quick. Copy that. Oh wait, I did that already. I just need to make one of them into rubble. And copy my rubble. There we go. Nice. And then that welcome thingy. What are they called again? Let's go to Piukanda and find out. Cool. We got these little light fixtures in now. I might skip the crystals in there, because when I do crystals I like to make it that they're also a light source. It does look kind of nice. Okay, alright, I'm gonna put the light fixtures in. I'll do these little crystal clusters. Yeah, that looks nice. Yeah, that's super nice. All right. Okay, and then player goes forward, and then they get into this kind of smaller hallway again. The skeleton just shut the door. Or maybe I shut it. There he goes. He's just going off to work. The skeleton drops. So this is that hallway, and it bends around on each side there. And then this one actually is like blocked off. There's like all this rubble that prevents you from going down there. But there is some stairs going down. So I'm going to copy that and place some stairs that go down. I wonder what's down there. I wonder if it'd be interesting if I made it so that there was something for the player to do down there. Let's see, TCL. Let's go see what's down there. Oops. There we go. So there's kind of a corner, and then there's nothing else. I think I'll just copy how it is. You can add more to the dungeon? Yeah. I'm trying to see, because this is actually, it's an interesting dungeon. It's pretty long, and at one point it actually changes from it changes from being an Ayleid dungeon to being a castle themed dungeon, which is very unusual for an Ayleid dungeon. So that might actually be a pretty good candidate for getting linked into the Imperial sewers, especially because it starts underwater too. It's an underwater dungeon. I might set it up. I might start building it in that direction. So maybe I might collapse. I don't want to really. I don't know. It'd be really scary if you could make skeleton come out of the piles of rubble. That would be awesome. There might be some kind of like a Draugr ambush that we could use. I'm not quite sure if the skeletons use the exact same stuff as the Draugr, but that might be possible. Because some of the ambushes that we can use, we just kind of like copy. We just copy. We're basically, the whole modding is just remixing Skyrim and placing things in the same kind of way, but a little bit different. Yeah, I got to think of what to do here. I think what I'm gonna keep doing. I love this because it's kind of like I don't have to think too hard if I'm just copying it from Oblivion, and to me that kind of that helps my enjoyment of it. If I don't have to like scrutinize, go like, oh man, do I want to do that or that? So for my flow, I'm just gonna keep on copying out the Oblivion. So it goes up, and then it kind of does a corner, and then we get a, oh, this is nice. We get like a four-way, and then it leads this way. There is some music playing in the background, but it's very faint. I might actually see if I can turn it up for a bit. It's very faint. Let me know if the music gets too loud, and I'll turn it back down again. another thing that I just love so much is how the lighting looks on stairs. And like, this has got to be the most niche thing, but I'm sure sometimes if you've played a game, you're walking around, you're like, wow, the lighting, like it's hitting the stairs, so cool. Maybe that's just me, because I'm super into the lighting. But like, look at this. Oh my god. Just lighting on stairs is so cool. Sometimes I'll put like candles on the stairs themselves. I think I might do that. Just as a little special thing. Because we do have these wonderful blue candles. I am back. Just gonna set everything up again. It what happened I think was just that the stream, however it's the OBS, that thing just crashed. But at least I could reboot pretty quick. I'm gonna see if I can get my webcam and stuff set up again. Alright, welcome back guys. Yeah, so yeah, just what happened, just the OBS, which is the software I use to stream, it has like a thing where it links into my graphics card, and some points it seems to just completely give me a total freeze on my computer and I have to reboot. So I'm just setting up again now. So in terms of the whole dungeon, on this map here, we can see, so we've done this start portion. No wait, where did we start? Yeah, it's down here. So we did this portion up to right about here. So that's where we are. We're probably, I would say maybe over halfway done the first cell, and so far, that's taken us just over 2 hours, which is pretty good. But it, again, like there's that ratio of like how fast a player gets through it compared to how long it takes for a person to build it, and I would say that amount of space going through it, like people are gonna blast through it in like 2 minutes or so, but that's taking me 2 hours to build. And it's not even finished yet. It still needs cluttering and stuff. So it takes a while. There's good reasons. There's good reasons why they have like those radiant quests for redoing and reusing content, because it takes a long time to build dungeons. So I'm using Streamlabs now. So if anybody follows who hasn't followed before, it's actually I think it's going to trigger like a voice clip from Oblivion. It'll pop up.
They call me Wilhelm the World because dirt suits me fine. Town lets me live in the warehouse to keep out the rats.
I love it. Oh.
Wilhelm the World because dirt suits me fine. Town lets me live in the warehouse to keep out the rats.
I love it. I love Streamlabs for that. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of audio clips set up for like all the different things, and there's a few because in Oblivion there's like I found this like almost like a Wikipedia page that had all of these clips for like download, and they have some of them which is like actually Todd Howard because Todd Howard did some kind of like test dialogue when they were testing a system. And so there's the one that's like, he says, oh man, I wonder if I can find them. I gotta have them somewhere here. Let me see if I can pull those up while the creation kit's loading. But it's just fantastic because there's all these voice clips are just available and you can just download them, set them up for whatever you want. Alright, so it has loaded. So we're gonna get back at it. I don't know if Streamlabs is going to crash again. If it does, just I guess just wait for like a minute or so, and then I'll be back up. I'm still planning on streaming for another 45 minutes. Alright, so this is where we left off. And oh right, I gotta open up Oblivion again. So 2. Oh. Oh, it's not responding. I think it's not going to crash though. When it does things like this, it usually doesn't. Just going to reload this cell. Okay, there we go, we're back. think one of the things that I'm enjoying the idea of in um, Ayleid Ruins in Beyond Skyrim compared to Oblivion is the idea of making the lighting almost like a little bit more dim. Because in the Ayleid dungeons themselves, they're actually really well lit. And this is something that's kind of strange. Like, there's certain areas that's dark, but on the whole, one of the styles that I've been trying to do is making it almost a little bit darker. Um, and I think part of that is because we kind of have like a niche audience for Beyond Skyrim. Like, it's people who are like, yeah, rah rah, Elder Scrolls. Um, Compared to when Oblivion came out, it had to have like an audience of like everybody in your your grandma, everybody. And so um, one of the things that I think is interesting in this is that we know that people are going to be able to use torches. They're going to know those things, and we're going to have less of a casual audience than if it was like a game in itself. Cool, okay. So we have another big room here. I think I just love watching the usual like enemy NPCs when you have like AI detection turned off, because they don't attack you. They're just skeletons hanging out doing skeleton things. You know, you ever wonder what the skeletons are doing? Just walking around. Whoa. I don't know why I find that so amusing. This is a really interesting room up there. I'm gonna go up there. So there's a bunch of these things. These weird little stone structures there. Yes, and the chandelier. And it looks like the player gets into this room from over here. Loading the level in the Oblivion creation kit? It might be. The thing that I like about the using the Oblivion kit though is that it's like the game itself. So for me, it's a lot of fun to just like hop right into it, and it's like there's the whole game. Um, I can see there might be like a reason why to do that in the Oblivion kit, because then you could see like, oh, that's that piece specifically. Because I do find that like some of my time is spent looking through the list and figuring out, oh, what's that piece called? What's that piece? Um, but I think at the same time, it's sort of there's no perfect method to do it. It's just sort of it's an art. So it really depends on what you personally find fun and what keeps you going. Okay. Um, so unfortunately, that was the. Hold on, I'm just gonna turn the music on my side. There we go. So unfortunately, I did get another crash there. Um, so it seems like OBS is a more reliable thing for streaming than Streamlabs. I'm going to look into why that is. It might be related to my graphics card actually overheating. It seems to be something relating to the hardware. But I did get a good 3 hours out of this, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Um, so yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming and chatting. That made it. I had a great time doing this, which is always great because that means that it's more likely that I'll do this kind of thing again. Um, so this stream itself came as a result of me meeting a Patreon goal. So I got to a point where now I'm getting $30, over $30 a month on my Patreon for my modding. And so that's the thanks to the people who have become my patrons. So I'm going to go through their names real quick. There's Deborah Mitchell, Ian Humphreys, Jacob Clark, Karen Hibbard, Melissa Rodriguez, Nervous Jerboa, and Stephen Ludking. Thanks very much for your support. That makes all of this more possible, and it helps me produce mods so that more people can enjoy them. So, yeah, if I have over $30 on my Patreon, you guys can expect one of these happening next month. Otherwise, if you want it to be a weekly thing, that's just another tier goal for my support. So if that's interesting to you, please feel welcome if money is not an issue for you right now, to support me on Patreon, because that will make this more possible and more frequent. So yeah, thanks very much everybody, and I hope you have a great time.